Looks like they hemming up former President Bill Clinton. He, as well as Hillary Clinton, have decided to testify rather than face contempt. So, according to NBC News, Bill and Hillary agreed to testify in House Epstein probe ahead of contempt vote. So, why are they the first to testify? I'm just saying. By the way, this video is for entertainment and informational purposes only. Everything is allegedly. Shouldn't Ghislaine Maxwell be the first to testify? I guess Bill has to explain why he was on those 16 flights of Jeffrey Epstein. But it seems like political targeting to me. So, let's look at this report from NBC News, where it states that former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton have agreed to testify in House investigating into Jeffrey Epstein. And so, the former president and his wife will not be held in contempt. They will be there to appear before Congress to testify. No date has been set yet. No date and time. And so, it was not immediately clear when and where the Clintons will testify. A spokesperson for the Clinton, Angel Urena, responded in a post on Monday, and this is what they had to say. So, in this post on X, they said, "They negotiated in good faith. You did not. They told you under oath what they knew, but you don't care. But the former president and former Secretary of State will be there. They look forward to setting a precedent that applies to everyone. Precedent my A. Bill is not trying to be another Don Lemon. He is not trying to get arrested. So, of course, since it's a Republican-led House, and the first people they would decompose would be the Clintons, and not Ghislaine Maxwell. My question is, will this precedent apply to everyone? Will they just bring in Democrats, or will they also bring in some Republicans? This might backfire, because the precedent will be to bring in people mentioned in the Epstein file. There are plenty of Republicans mentioned in the Epstein files, including the top Republican, Donald Trump. Now, of note, they appear to only be accusations regarding Donald Trump, called in on a hotline. However, they are some serious allegations and from several different people. So now let's talk about how the Clintons are in the Epstein file. Mainly Bill Clinton. I don't think Hillary is in there, but I guess she will go to show support for her man. And she will be grilled too, I'm sure, about what she knows. Oh, with contempt vote looming, here's what Epstein documents say about the Clintons. Now this according to CNN. So the Justice Department's latest release of the Epstein files offers fresh insights into how former President Bill Clinton's staff communicated with Jeffrey Epstein and his longtime associate, Ghislaine Maxwell, including sometimes lewd email exchanges. So, what might be in those Epstein files on Bill Clinton? According to CNN, with contempt vote looming, here's what Epstein documents say about the Clintons. Now, they said plural, the Clintons. Now, I didn't know it said that much about Hillary. So, it says that the Justice Department's latest release of the Epstein files offers fresh insights into how former President Bill Clinton's staff communicated with Jeffrey Epstein and his longtime associate, Ghislaine Maxwell, including sometimes lewd email exchanges. Not the staff doing these lewd email exchanges. You know what? We're going to take a look at one of those emails, but just not right now. It says that the document dump comes just days before an unexpected House contempt vote against the Clintons, after they rebuffed a subpoena to testify in a bipartisan probe into Epstein. Now, isn't that something? They just happen to have the second dump right before they're going to have them testify. Looks suspicious to me. But what about the full dump? We want to see it all. It says that the Republican-led House is expected to vote this week to hold both Bill and Hillary Clinton in contempt of Congress for failing to testify. But guess what? They are going to testify. Story goes on to say House Oversight Republicans and even some Democrats voted in committee last month to hold the former president and Secretary of State in contempt. Not the Democrats, Republicans. They be on the same page. Now, trigger warning. This information might be offensive to some. So, according to Axios, they said, scoop, Epstein files include hum like a horse message to Clinton email. So, I guess this is something that was sent to an email that may have been Bill Clinton's email. Well, according to this, Jeffrey Epstein co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell, who will not be testifying anytime soon that I know of. So anyway, it says Jeffrey Epstein co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell once sent a message to an email address associated with former President Clinton that complimented the size of the recipient's genitals. And it said that it's unclear whether Maxwell was writing to Clinton or an aide who used the president's account and whose name was redacted. Now, it is said that for years, Bill Clinton has denied using email and repeatedly was referenced in the third person in emails sent from the account. So, Bill knows what to do to not get too entangled. He said he was not using the email. I guess he's saying that it was just his staff. So it says that included in Friday's Epstein files dump in an email from Maxwell dated Saturday, January 1st. It says the 4501. Not sure what the 4501 stands for. The recipient's name is fully redacted in the public file. And it goes on to say, but the recipient was an email address with the initials WJC. And these are Bill Clinton's initials. His full name is William Jefferson Clinton. So again, it says that the recipient was an email address with the initials WJC that is associated with Clinton. This, according to the person familiar with the unredacted document. And so, reportedly, this is what the email said. It said, "Sorry to hear that the Boasberg stuff is bad. I could not help myself. That was one juicy little tidbit I did let out. The one about what a super stud you are, and how I have a crush on you, and how you are hung like a horse. Well, you get the picture. Hope you don't mind." They say that this is what Ghislaine Maxwell wrote. Now, of note is that Bill Clinton, like President Trump, who socialized frequently with Epstein in the 1990s and early 2000s, have denied any wrongdoing. It just baffles me that Bill Clinton, a former president, is going to be the first to testify before Congress. They had to get a Democrat to testify first. Of course, their besties Ghislaine is not going to come up and testify. Of course, I'm being sarcastic when I say they besties. But anyway, this is what is going on. Bill Clinton is going to testify, and so is Hillary. Also, what else is in the Epstein files is that Bill Clinton flew on Epstein's private jet at least 16 times in the early 2000s, so I guess he got some explaining to do. It says that the former president flew on Jeffrey Epstein's private jet on domestic and international trips, often accompanied by both Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. This according to flight logs released during Maxwell's 2021 sex trafficking trial. All right, so knew about this, and it says that some of those flights were part of extensive international trips with multiple stops. All right, so I'm thinking that since they already knew about this is probably not something that they're going to be able to get the president on. They asked that this happened in the early 2000s, so I think that there might be a statute of limitations, because if there isn't, the president better plead the fifth, because this administration has been known to lock people up. And so they have a picture of the flight logs from February 2002 all the way up until November of 2003. So it should be interesting to see his explanation of why he was on a Jeffrey Epstein flight, 16 times. Jeffrey Epstein's private jet, at least 16 times. And I'm thinking that since these flights were known about, that the ex-president might be all right. It seems like there is more incriminating evidence on other people that should be coming before Congress. So maybe this is just the beginning. We need to see some more subpoenas now that they have dropped some more of the Epstein files. And let's hope for justice for the victims, because if Bill Clinton did something wrong, he needs to pay. You know, he got impeached with that incident with Monica, but other people need to be held accountable as well. Judging by those files that were released, there are some horrific things in those files. So this is what is going on. The Clintons will be testifying before Congress. Let me know what you think about this. Make sure you leave a comment below. And as always, thank you so very much for stopping by my page. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. go on ahead and subscribe to this YouTube channel. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. This is Liz, keeping up with the biz, and I will see you on the next video.